We are only 4 days into NBA free agency, but yet a lot of critics, supporters of the Thunder, and even reporters that don't necessarily give the Thunder all that much hype are already saying that they're the winners of the 2024 NBA free agency class and offseason so far, even though, like I mentioned at the start of this, we're only 4 days into free agency. And we've made one big signing. We re-signed 2 guys, but we brought in one new player through free agency, and yet people are already saying we are the team to beat in the West, and we could potentially go and win it all if we make the finals with this squad. What up? It's Bryson Akins with another Thunder Digest video for you guys today. Before we get all this though, I don't want to do a subscriber thing or anything. It's the 4th of July when I'm recording this, when this is going up. So just why don't you let me know in the comments what you guys are doing for the 4th. I hope everyone is safe on these holidays if you do celebrate. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about, all right? I saw a tweet by, Clemente Almanza, who if you guys aren't new to the channel, he's a guy I always go to for Thunder information. He's a reporter for the Thunder, beat writer as well. Go check out some of his articles. Check him out on Twitter so you can see what all he does. And this is what he had to say, quoting Brian Windhorst, all right? Brian Windhorst listed out the 4 most impactful offseason moves. The 4 were Butler not getting extended by the Heat, Bridges to the Knicks, Mitchell's extension with the Cavs, and the Caruso-Giddey trade. Caruso could potentially end up affecting the championship race more than any of these others. Caruso is the perfect player for the Thunder. Great move by the Thunder for the #1 team in the West in terms of the standings. To get that type of player for that type of price really could be an important factor going forward. So he's already saying this is just one of the little moves that we did, all right? One of the 4 moves that we have done so far in the offseason. And it was the first one we did as well. Caruso for Giddey. That was what it was, just straight up. A lot of people were saying that there would be picks involved in the trade before it was all finalized, but it was just a straight up player swap. Then it was mentioned that is very rare in the NBA to see nowadays. A straight up player swap for 2 guys. That is extremely rare to see, but yet the Thunder pulled it off. And Caruso is the type of player, he makes an instant impact on the team no matter what position he's put into. Coming off the bench, a starter, just as a role player, a guy that you need late in the games. And he's someone I could see in our starting, our closing lineup as well. And speaking of the lineup, with the moves that we've made so far, we're looking kind of set right now, all right? Let me actually make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a bit better, because I was struggling seeing it, so I'm sure you guys would as well. Oklahoma City Thunder's roster after the 2024 NBA Draft, acquiring Alex Caruso and signing Isaiah Hartenstein, is very impressive. Point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, shooting guard Alex Caruso, small forward Jalen Williams, that's J-Dub, power forward Chet Holmgren, and center Isaiah Hartenstein. The bench is also stacked when you look at these players. Dort, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Dylan Jones, Nikola Topic, who won't play this season, and then Jay will. And don't forget about Ousmane Dieng as well, and then Kenrich Williams, who can come in when we do have a guy or 2 injured. Now, the only thing I would switch to the starting lineup, I'd have Dort start. I feel like he brings more value as a starter, and he's better off to start games to set the intensity of how we're going to be on defense. I feel like that'd be great for us having him in that starting lineup. Caruso off the bench as a true 6-man, and I feel like he would thrive more in a bench role because of how, I don't want to say, his durability. He has durability issues. I don't want to say, he's very easy, to get injured. He's not. He's going to play through stuff. But yet, the more load you put on him, the more minutes, the more likely he is to be injured, and you won't have him for a set period of amount of time. Like, it's just one of those things where he'd be better off coming off the bench. And it works out for us because if you remember, the guy we traded away said he didn't want to come off the bench, and that's completely fine. I don't think Josh Giddey is a bench player in the league. He should be a starting point guard somewhere. And he has a great chance to be that guy in Chicago, a guy that can average 18, 8, and 8. I think he has that potential. He has the potential, if he wants to average a triple-double, because that's the kind of skill set and size he brings to a team. He's a great passer, all right? He has that size to where he can rebound, and he finishes decently, all right? He can finish at the rim a little bit. He can. It's just one of those things where, with this current Thunder roster, he didn't really fit in anywhere. That was the problem. He didn't really fit in anywhere, and he didn't want to come off the bench because that would be the best role for him. However, he wants to be that guy on a team, which we get, we respect. So we got someone that would probably be willing to come off the bench in Alex Caruso. I think he would be willing to if he wins a championship, because he's that kind of player with his mentality where he just wants to help out and be the best guy he can be for a team. He knows that. And his stats show it as well. When you look at the stats for Alex Caruso, all right, he is that guy when you're coming to the team. 10 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, block a game, almost 2 steals a game as well, less than 2 turnovers, 2.5 fouls a game, 46% from the field, 40% from behind the three-point line. Decent size as well, 6'5". He's 30 years old, so he's definitely going to be one of our older players, if not the oldest, which is a good thing for us because we need that veteran leadership and playoff experience on our team. Now that we have a little bit, it just helps, added bonus getting that onto the squad. 40% on corner threes, like we've mentioned before in a past video when we acquired him. 89% of his threes are assisted. 61% of all of his shots are 3-balls. So he shoots the 3-ball better, all right? I don't want to say he's top to bottom better scorer than Giddey, because Giddey can create opportunities for himself with pass fakes. But yeah, I feel like he does a lot of stuff better than Giddey does, especially defensively, which is where he's really going to come in and kind of thrive with this team, all right? Just being honest, the defensive stats, you saw it right there. A block and almost 2 steals a game for a 6'5" shooting guard, which that is really nice. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. A lot of people, they consider him, the best perimeter defender in the league, and maybe even the best defender in the league when they're thinking about all-around presence. He locked up Kevin Durant with his size. He put him in a prison cell with how much of a menace he was on defense. Adding that to our already stacked defensive lineup with Chet and Dort and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, now Isaiah Hartenstein, Cason Wallace off the bench. I mean, we're set defensively now. We're set. All right? But to go into this even further, to show you what I mean defensively we're set, just take a look at his defensive stats through the years. All right? When you're looking at this, okay, last year he played 28 minutes a game. He was a starter as well. Now, he did have a little bit of a durability issue, but that's because of the added minutes onto there. He's a guy on the team that I can see, getting 24 to 25 minutes a game for us off the bench and just being in that closing lineup for us with Hartenstein. But I don't see him starting it off and then going. He'd be going in with like 5 minutes left in the first quarter. 5 minutes play I would say 10 to 12 minutes in the first half of the game. And then the second half, he'd play closer to 12 to maybe even 15 minutes in the second half of a basketball game. But you're looking at the stats here, okay? He had 120 steals last season, along with 70 blocks. As a guard, keep that in mind. He had these stats as a guard. Okay, the 70 blocks is as a 6'5" guard who doesn't really have an insane vertical. It used to be nice, but now, now he's getting older. He doesn't have as much bounce anymore, so he's transitioning to the 3-ball, which he does really well at when we looked at it. But going more on his defensive stats there, steal to turnover ratio is 1.1. I'm trying to look at more of that. His blocks per 48 minutes were 1.6. His steals per 48 minutes were almost at 3. All right. He's had a few of those seasons where his steals per 48 minutes were at 3 already. When you look at his past 2 with the Bulls, or his first 2 seasons with the Bulls, 1.7 to 1.5 respectively. But he's been a guy that's almost averaged a steal per game his entire career. He has built his career off of his defensive presence, which is great to add to this team. It is. And we're clearly building something, all right, by adding these 2 guys and Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. We want to be able, okay, if our offense couldn't get it done, like we saw in the postseason that we just went cold a little bit with a lot of our players, we want to be able to rely on our defense, where we don't let anyone score more than 100 points against us, because even on an off night, we were still scoring 100 points. So if we can limit other teams to 100, that gives us a chance to win. And so we clearly recognize that, so we're clearly building a team where we have the best defense in the league, all right? Like the old saying goes, offense wins you games, but defense wins you championships. And I think that really showed last, with the Celtics in the finals, how they were just shutting out the Mavericks. They were just destroying them. They had them in a box every possession when the Mavericks were on offense. They did. That's because of how good their defense was. So we saw that and we're like, okay, kind of going to do what Boston did when we were just going to make sure our defense is really good. So if we do have a cold night, where we're not shooting 50% from the floor like we usually do, and it's like a 35% from the floor, we can just rely on our defense to get it done for us. I think that's what the Alex Caruso trade really signified at the start of the offseason. Okay, we're going to bring him in and really set the tone of what we're going to be about next season. Because Chet Holmgren is already one of the top rim protectors in the league. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's physical. He's what we need down low in the paint for rebounds as well. Our perimeter defense, you have Dort, who's going to be this physical presence, all right, who's going to be on you like a bully. Then you have Alex Caruso, who's his yin to his yang. And, Dort is a yang, Alex Caruso is a yin, where Alex Caruso is more, he's going to use his mind. He's going to use his mind and play good defense that way. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's going to occasionally pick your pocket. J-Dub is our worst defender in the starting lineup, no matter how you look at it, and yet he's still a good defender. We have good defenders throughout the whole lineup, which has us set for the long run, which is what's going to win us the championship, and why a bunch of executives, reporters, and beat writers are worried about the Thunder going into the next season, because they're like, this is a team you got to watch out for, because they're going to be that good and that much of a super team. That's all I got for this video today. Like I said, just don't talk, don't say something about the video. You don't have to. You can, of course, So the support and everything is always, I love it. Just I want to see what you guys are doing the 4th of July. If you guys are celebrating when you see this, or if it's tomorrow, July 5th or 6th when you see it. Tell me what you did for the 4th of July. All right, because we know as Thunder fans, it's not the best day, the 4th of July with Kevin Durant. But that's all I got for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.